Hello and welcome back everyone to Synergy and Multifamily Growth and Mindset Talks. My name is Erick Segura and I'm here joined by my lovely co-host, Jahaira Campozano.
We hope you join us on the fourth Wednesday of every month to talk mindset and real estate, the importance of accountability, tips and tricks that we've learned on our own real estate investment journey, and the importance on continuously nurturing our mindset. Erick, I think the most important thing is to reintroduce ourselves to our community. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Jahaira. So as I mentioned before, my name is Erick Segura. I'm a first-generation Latin American entrepreneur. My parents are both from Guatemala. They immigrated here to the United States in the 1980s. And since then, my father and my mother have both instilled in me the ethics of hard work, labor, and how to continuously progress in your life and continue uplifting your family at the same time. Since I was young, both my parents worked days and night shifts and trying to keep food on the table while also maintaining a family back in Guatemala. It wasn't until I got older that I grew to appreciate that work ethic so much from both of my parents, as seeing them work day in and day out and just to provide enough for both me and my brothers to get by and for us to have a better opportunity here in the States. And that all those years has led me into a career initially in the fashion design world before pivoting over into fine arts, and which I now own and operate my own custom art framing and consulting firm. From the work that I've done at Wistful Art Studios, I've cultivated the skill sets of working with high-end clients, high-profile clients here in the Hamptons and also in the tri-state area. I have grown to become a lot better in my way of operating and implementing systems that are continuously on autopilot as I move along and grow into different ventures. One of them being our real estate investment firm, Blackbridge Capital Partners. A lot of the skill sets that I've acquired by dealing with customer service and listening to other people's goals and mindset and their their livelihoods, right? Their day-to-day problems. I've gotten the ability to become creative in my role as acquisitions for Blackbridge and learn how to create opportunities for people that may not be seeking them, but are always open to them. So that's a little bit about me. Jahaira, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and your background.
So a little bit about myself. My name is Jahaira. I am also a first generation American here in the United States. Both my parents migrated from Central and South America. I know that all my first generation Americans out there understand that fire that is kind of like lit under you, right? From the moment that you're born, your parents are pretty much telling you you have to be better than them. And you know it, you feel it. And so that led me into a career as a paralegal. After becoming a paralegal, I learned that, and I've always said this, I just wanted to help people. Unfortunately, in my paralegal field, I didn't quite feel like that was something I was accomplishing. And so I turned into becoming an advocate and community educator. And that has been the last 5 years of my life. I've worked in social work. I've dedicated my life to advocating for others, for educating others, and I love it. I absolutely love all the work that I get to do. I knew this then and I know this now. It's not a way to create generational wealth, nor is it a way to be financially free. For myself, it was important to be open to opportunities that were being laid out in front of me. One being that when I met Erick, Erick had already had a very entrepreneurial mindset. He had known that he wanted to be his own boss. He didn't want to be told what to do, when to do it. And for me, that was something completely new. I never had that in my life. I've never had someone telling me that you could be your own boss. He would slowly invite me to help him do little side jobs. He would encourage me to seek my own ventures. And one day he invited me to an event, and I don't think he knew that I would say yes to that day. I'm pretty sure he thought that I would brush it off again, but I decided to take the chance and I went. And that event really was the beginning of my mind shifting. We just continued networking. We continued connecting with more individuals that were like-minded. And that made a huge impact in my life because I now take everything I've learned in my past from being an advocate, from being a community educator, and I shifted that all over to being the investor relations on our team. With investor relations, it's so important to have a clear communication with your investors. It's so important to continuously educate yourself on your market so that you're prepared for your investors' questions. And that's everything that I've learned from my past. I'm utilizing that now. I really want to dive a little bit deeper there, right? Because once you've figured out your super skills, right, your superpowers, as they say in our industry, you now have to take it a step further. And I think that step further starts with accountability. So, Eric, I think I really would love to jump into how we remain accountable individually and as a team so that we could share that with our guests.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with what you last said, Jahaira, is being in that room of like-minded people and creating a team based around those people. I consider ourselves lucky to have found a very close-knit team that we're able to rely on. And one gentleman that comes to mind who we've had the pleasure of having on the podcast is Francisco Santos. He's a go-to underwriter for our team. I think that by creating that synergy as a team, it makes the accountability part a lot easier and a lot quicker because you're not dragging your feet, your partners aren't dragging their feet, you guys are moving together as a unit. And there's been plenty of times where, we've gone back and forth, we underwritten a deal in less than 24 hours, and just to speak to that, it those systems aren't created on a day-to-day basis. They take time for them to grow along with the relationships of your partners.
You know, part of being accountable is realizing you just don't want to disappoint your teammates. And I think that's why it's so important to take your time to cultivate your relationships with your teammates. Because at the end of the day, you're speaking to them on a daily basis. I mean, I can recall back where I think we had a meeting almost every single day when we were on really high gear trying to, underwrite a deal in 24 hours. And just, it is so important to have transparency between each other, to be open to other people's opinions and maybe having different thought processes on how something should be done and not taking it offensively. And so when I say that it's important to really cultivate the relationships is because when you're going to have someone hold you accountable, you have to be able to take that and be accountable, right? You don't want to feel like you're being attacked, but when you've already had a great relationship, like the relationships that we've built with our partners, you don't take that as someone taking a dig at you. You take that as, thank you so much for helping me. That almost slipped between the cracks. I appreciate you for that. And so accountability for myself means being honest with our partners, being honest with ourselves. And so, Eric, we've talked about our partners, and you mentioned it before about just the processes that we've put into place that have taken time to build. And so I think that's where we want to jump into the importance of timing, because not everyone's going to be on your same timeline, right? Some people may not be ready in a month. Some people might be ready in a year, and you might be ready in 3 years to really take that next move. So when we talk about the importance of timing, what would you say is the number one rule with timing?
I think one thing that you have to keep in mind with timing is, like you mentioned before, that not everybody's working on the same timeline. Being mindful of that and being respectful of that will make for a much more cohesive partnership or, group effort, especially when you're talking about real estate investing, right? Whether it be, multifamily syndications, whether it be single family, whether it be midterm, short term. Um, it all depends on, the speed and style of execution of the team, right? So whenever I think of timing, I want to be as transparent as I can be with my team and making sure that everything's moving at a steady pace. So I'm able to relay the information to my team in a timely manner, right? Which brings me back to the whole synergy thing. Everybody has to be on board for things to move smoothly. At least that's what I've experienced so far on the acquisition side.
Is not only is it moving through many hands, but everybody has to kind of be able to stand on their own leg. So, and it's something that we've experienced ourselves through our own journey. There were times where we had to look back at our processes and be like, okay, where did we go wrong and how do we fix that? How do we go back and put systems in place so that we don't make that same mistake? And I think it's so important to talk about how much time it actually takes to make those processes. It's a lot of error and then fixing it, right? It's not just, okay, well, it didn't work out, let's just move on. No, it's looking back at the things that we've done and how do we make this better as a team? Is there a form that we can create? Is there a system where, Eric, you speak to a broker, then maybe you speak to the underwriter, and the underwriter immediately tells you, hey, this is going to work, this is not going to work, within minutes, within hours, right? So again, the importance of being respectful of everyone's time that they're taking, especially if you're in a team setting. You never want to be the reason why a deal didn't go through. And so being respectful of other people's times is putting in the time as well. Putting in the time to educate yourself about the deal, putting in the time to continuously hone on your skills. For myself as investor relations, that means reaching out to investors, always staying in touch with people who have initially already given me a reason to believe that they would be interested in an opportunity if it came by, and in cultivating those relationships, because relationships don't happen in one conversation. They happen by continuously building them, right? Like a little seed. You water it every day, and then you see that plant erupt and it starts growing. But the moment you stop watering that plant, it's going to die. And so it's so important to understand that a relationship takes time, and never to just expect someone to immediately give you over, 50K, 100K, right? It's important to understand that everything that we do here in multifamily or single family, it is a journey. It is not a race. It is a journey.
One other topic that I wanted to touch base upon with you, Jahaira, now that we've mentioned before about, the accountability, about, coming back with your team and seeing what went wrong within a deal, what went right within a deal, that sort of reflection. Um, how are you able to feed your mindset, right? Because with real estate investing, at least from my experience, is it's definitely a long-term game, right? It's something that you have to stick with for years to come, and you're not going to necessarily reap the rewards of it within the next day or two, or next week, or the next month. So what do you do personally within your life that you're able to, feed your mindset and feed your education, study the field that you're in, and how do you become better at your position as investor relations?
That's a really good question, Eric. So I want to start off by the first thing I did. And it was that I took a look at myself, I took a look at my life, and I audited. If I'm being completely honest, I audited. I audited my social media. I unfollowed everyone and anything that didn't serve me, especially where I wanted to be or where I was going in life. What also helped me is that I took time to self-care more. I started taking care of myself on a personal level. I started listening to audiobooks on my way to work. Specifically, I was able to listen to Atomic Habits. I listened to the 48 Laws of Power, and just deciding to ingest material that was going to add to everything that I wanted in life. These are all things I keep doing to cultivate that mindset, along with connecting with other individuals, finding other events to attend. The more that you're in it, the more that you surround yourself with real estate, the more focused that your mind becomes. And our brains are so powerful that if you continuously feed it the right information, it's going to give you the results that you're looking for.
Couldn't agree more. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to reintroduce yourself. Pleasure to have everybody here. And I look forward to seeing you guys for next month on the fourth Wednesday of every month for our Synergy Multifamily Growth and Mindset Talks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric, for having this conversation with me today. And I thank everyone for just tuning into us. Continue to tune in, subscribe, like, and share your thoughts on what you do to keep your mindset fresh, active, and what we are doing to nurture that every single day.